afternoon, and thank you for sticking around. My name is Juan Gril. I'm studio manager of Joju Games. For those who don't know, Joju Games is a 7-year-old game development studio. We've been doing casual games for a really long time, and most of them are online games, although that's significantly changing now that we have tools such as Flash that allow us to go cross-platform, so all games in development are cross-platform. Talking with Colin about what can we talk about at Flash Games Summit, we went over all the different games that we worked on the past 12 months. And we saw that this game in particular was very interesting to talk about because Automech Tower Defense was born with the idea of combining two genres in order to attract two different types of audiences. And you'll see what it means. But basically, we thought that from the game design point of view, it's a very exciting challenge to think about a game that takes from game design elements from different games or genres and creates a new game in itself. And a great example of that is Puzzle Quest. And we're big fans of Puzzle Quest in the studio. And there was another game that we really liked at the time, and this game is called Toy Soldiers, and it was released on Xbox Live Arcade. And basically, the game is a full 3D game in which you take a first-person position in a scenario, and the game plays like a tower defense game, but you can arrange and purchase units, but at the same time, you can be part of the action, taking over the role of a unit, which we thought it was pretty interesting because it was an action game that added strategic elements to the same game. But playing the game, we felt that it was still very much an action game. Even though it was fun, we thought that there was something else that it could be done. And our friends at Shockwave called us and said, you know, I think these type of games can be really interesting if we make them in a 2D setting. So I'm going to show you a video of what the end product was. And then we're going to talk about all the different design elements that come together to create this game. So we wanted to make sure that we could provide a game that was interesting for both type of audiences. And the first objective, and as we know with most Flash games, was to create a really compelling action game. So our friends at Shockwave asked us to come up with different prototypes. And one prototype that we're doing for a separate game was the idea of having an avatar that would transform. And through the prototyping, we discovered that we had a really fun, interesting mechanic if we could come up with a rule set in which we have this character that would transform between a car or a mech. The car would be fast, but would be weak and would have just a few weapons. and the mech will be strong, will walk slowly, and will walk slowly. A very interesting element in this was the fact of the level design of the map in itself, because as you might see later on, that would play as a key element in your decision making, in which you would decide between using the car or using the mech. So as units will go in towards getting your lab, and that is the objective of the game, protect yourself from, protect the lab from the different hordes of enemies, you would choose to be in mech mode because you're fighting against a group of enemies, but on your little map on the bottom right, you'll see that there was another group of enemies coming from all the other side of the map, and it would have been useful for you to transform into a car, drive as quickly as possible to the other area, and keep fighting. So that created a very interesting dynamic. You thinking about what's the best strategy for me to do right now, and where should I go, and what kinds of modes or weapons I should use. I should also mention that the game in mech mode and car mode also allows you to drop different types of power-ups. These are power-ups that you can collect throughout the map. And there are mines, and there are missiles, and things that will, and a shield. And these are things that allow you to really get an edge. So if there was also the concept of constant exploration across the map, so you can grab these power-ups and be more effective. So all that has been combined into creating a game that is compelling from the strategy standpoint. And I'll talk briefly in the next slide about how we balance the economy. Basically, we added these elements in which you're playing with the WASD keys to move around. The spacebar will switch you between modes. And then you would use the mouse to fire and using your cursor around. And both in car mode and mech mode, the turrets on top move 360 degrees. But also at the same time, there are slots across the map, and that by pressing the E key will allow you to drop this menu that you see on the right, and that will allow you to select a turret. As in any tower defense game, you generate money by killing enemies, and you will use that money to buy turrets and aid you in the defense of the laboratory that you're protecting. So the interesting factor was this. This is an example of how you earn money through playing a level. The idea was that at the beginning of the level, we don't give you as much resources, so you are actually playing an action game. But as you start collecting resources, you start getting aids, and those aids are becoming more effective than you, repelling the invaders. So it becomes more like a management game. So as more turrets you have, more enemies come in, and you become more like a manager. And it created this very interesting flow. Through prototyping, we discovered that it created this very interesting flow of starting playing a particular mechanic. And as you saw that, oh, well, now I have these resources, I better start managing these resources instead of just focusing on the fight. And create this refreshing game mechanic. And it was really fun. So we kept going, and we knew that we had a successful product at that point. And one of the things that we realized was that through playtesting, we discovered that it really varied how much money people would end up with, because if they wouldn't be spending on turrets and they would be like really good action players, they might end up with a lot of money. And nobody thought it was fair to actually finish a level and end up with all that money and then start from zero again. So we started thinking about what can we do that would seem fair to players and be a feature that could be interesting in the game to tie all the levels together. And basically, what we did is at the end of every level, you get a summary, and all your remaining credits become upgrade points, 1-to-1. So basically, at the end of every level, after the summary screen, you will go into this shop. And it's basically an upgrade section. And this section will allow you to use these upgrade points in these 5 different categories, and it will raise the stats of your Automech. Interestingly enough, then we rebalance the level, so we made it harder and harder and harder. So basically, as you move through the progress as you progress through the game, you get to a point where if you didn't do the due diligence of actually saving a little bit of money to upgrade your mech, you will get to a point where you need to replay levels in order to get the money back. In order to get enough upgrade points to upgrade your mech. And this became also a very interesting mechanic. We started retesting all the levels, and we had people who were like getting to this dilemma at 75% of the level completion, or like 2 ways before the level ended, where they would say, I'm not sure if I should keep spending money on turrets or repairing them, or save money for upgrade points. So they were always doing this administration while they were playing this management mechanic, and that was fun. That was fun even for people who were truly hardcore action players. And at that point, we realized that we need to keep, we knew that we had something cohesive in terms of progress and meta progress. And in general, what we've been doing in a lot of games is we don't want to make things where the story is in front of the player and it's something that bothers the player in order to get to the fun. And we discovered that the comic format is working extremely well in our web games. I'm really proud of this story, actually. It's at every other level, there's a story screen, and basically it's a very simple comic page, but it's beautifully hand illustrated, and we try to make it as higher quality as possible. So it's not only a story that puts everything in context, it's a visual reward for the player. Yes, you reached this certain stage, and now we show you what happens next. And the story is basically, this Automech has been created by these scientists. There's been an invasion on Earth, and humans have lost so far. And the rebels are trying to come up with the ultimate weapon that's going to win the war. And this Automech is trying to gain time. So that's why they're protecting these labs. These labs are working together towards getting this weapon. We had great comments on the story. People saw that it was fun, and in many ways made more than one person play another level to see what happens. So the result has been pretty good. As you can see, we got a 4.2 or 5, which is pretty decent, and we got great comments, and definitely was an advancement towards action games and also strategy games. We're hoping to continue making games like this. I think there's a great opportunity, and we'll see what happens in the next few months. So I think that's it for me, unless you guys have any questions. Yes, over there. The question is if this is a web game or a downloadable game. It's a web game. It's a Flash game. It was first published at showwave.com, then it was published at addictinggames.com. So these ones are advertising based. In our studio, we have all kinds of games. Most of the games right now that we do are microtransactions based, but there's still a healthy number of clients who we work with who really monetize their games through advertising. So one of them is Viacom Network. Yeah. You're welcome. Any other questions? No? Great, thank you very much.